Welcome to the Socialette podcast, where we empower you with the marketing know-how you need to create the business of your dreams. I'm your host, Steph Taylor, and I'm a marketing nerd, Shiraz lover, and passport stamp collector. Join me as I dive into all things small business marketing and deliver them to you in bite-sized, fluff-free lessons every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Let's get learning. Hey, welcome back to Socialette. This is episode 166. Today's episode is brought to you by Australia's leading women in business retreat, Finding Balance in Business. It's an exclusive 4-day, 3-night retreat being held on the sunny Gold Coast here in Australia from October 24th through to October 27th, 2019. And the lady who's bringing the magic to this event is the fabulous business consultant Angela Henderson from Angela Henderson Consulting. You guys might remember that I interviewed Ange back at the start of March on this podcast, and she shared some absolute gold around the profit pillars for a thriving business. Well, this retreat focuses on female business owners having the chance to connect, refocus, learn, and grow. I'm one of the 8 women who will be speaking at the retreat, and I'm absolutely delighted to be sharing the stage with some of Australia's top female entrepreneurs. You'll have the opportunity to participate in daily mastermind sessions where you're free to discuss the specific challenges you have with your business and get solutions from your peers and the speakers. You'll also be surrounded by inspiring and like-minded women in business who might just become your new business besties. I've spoken so much about the importance of having business friends who get it, the ones who can relate to your struggles and celebrate your wins. This retreat is the perfect place to meet them. Places are limited to 50 people, so head to stephtaylor.co/retreat to save your spot. I hope to meet some of you there. On to the episode. So I'm a bit of a weirdo, right? I really love launches. When I think about what my highlights in business over the last couple of years have been, nearly every single one of those highlights has been a launch of some sort. Whether it was the launch of a new business, the launch of my first online course, the launch of a podcast, they've all been so much fun. And maybe this is because I get bored really quickly and launching is just like the most exciting thing for me. But yet I think so many people are terrified of launching anything, or they look at launches and they feel anxiety or dread. Yes, fair enough, they are scary. Like, after all, you are putting something that you've poured your heart and soul into out into the world without any guarantee that other people will love it or buy it or whatever. This episode, I'm sharing 5 tips to simplify your next launch and make it a little more fun and a little bit less anxiety-inducing, if that's possible. These tips apply to any launch. So whether you're launching a completely new business, a podcast, a product, a service offering, whatever it is that you're launching. Later this year or towards the start of next year, I'm going to be launching a course that is all about launching things in your business. So stay tuned for that too. I had planned to launch it in June, but we're currently in June and I'm nowhere near launching it because the more that I create in this course, the more that I realize there is to create. And it's going to be a pretty comprehensive program with templates, and I want to make it as easy as possible for you guys to have a successful launch. So it's turning out to be a lot more work than I expected it to be. Anyway, on to the tips to simplify your next launch. Tip number 1, plan your launch ahead of time. I see this happen far too often. You get too caught up in creating the actual product or business or podcast, and you forget to plan the launch. That is, you forget to plan how you'll market your product or your podcast or whatever it is. If you build it, they probably will not come unless you tell them about it, no matter how great this thing that you're building is. Don't leave it until you've launched it to promote it. Start building hype before you launch and make sure you've planned out all your promotions, created all your assets, written all your social media posts, written all your emails, scheduled everything. Trust me, this takes so much stress out of the process. And it also takes a lot of that emotion out of it, because sometimes if your launch isn't going so well, you're going to not want to put another social media post out there or send that email. And if it's all scheduled already, then it's going to go out. Yes, you might change some of the things that you've planned closer to the time, but that's fine. Tip number 2, know exactly who you're launching to. Once you've defined exactly who you're targeting, you need to get out there and find them. And start building a tribe of people who know you, love you, and trust you so that when you launch, they're ready and waiting to take action. It's a lot easier to have a clearly defined audience of people you're launching to than to try and launch to everyone. Trust me. If you try to be everything to everyone, your message will become confusing and it just won't be that compelling. Tip number 3, don't forget to validate whatever it is that you're launching. Yay, you've got an idea for the next Uber, but does anyone actually want this thing that you're creating? You'll save yourself a lot of heartache if you go and validate your idea. So this might mean chatting to people in your target audience to see whether it's something they actually want, or maybe you'll pre-sell your product before you've made it. At worst, it might save you a lot of time and money that you would have invested into a failed launch. And at best, it might give you ideas to improve upon whatever it is that you're launching to really make it as good as it can be. Tip number 4, set launch goals and work backwards. How will you know if your launch has been a success if you don't have clearly defined targets to work towards? Setting launch goals means you can break them down into smaller objectives to hit, and it just makes the whole process a lot less overwhelming. For example, say that your big launch goal is to sell $50,000 worth of your product. Okay, so how many website visitors then do you need to hit this goal? Or how many people do you need to visit your sales page? How many people do you need on your email list? How are you going to get these people onto your email list? This might also indicate ahead of time where potential issues could be. So for example, if you need 100,000 people to visit your sales page from Facebook ads, and your Facebook ads are running at 30 cents per click, and your budget for your Facebook ads is only $5,000, well, you can tell that you either need to increase your budget or you need to get those ads running cheaper. Tip number 5, detach from the outcome. Launching can be incredibly anxiety-inducing, especially when it's something you've been working on for a long time and you've been pouring your heart and soul into this thing that you're just so passionate about. And honestly, I think mindset is one of the biggest things in your launch. Far too often, we just get in our own way. We impose our own self-limiting beliefs on our launches. We get too attached to the end goal, and then we only wind up heartbroken when things don't go to plan. So my biggest tip is just detach from the outcome. Set your goals, but just know that things might not go to plan, and that's okay too. All you can do is learn, refine, and improve. That's it for this episode. This episode was brought to you by Australia's leading women in business retreat, Finding Balance in Business. Head to stephtaylor.co/retreat to save your spot. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes released every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you're enjoying this podcast so far, I'd really appreciate it if you could take just a few seconds to leave a quick rating and a review in iTunes or Apple Podcasts. Thanks so much for listening. Catch you next time.